Hi, friends. I always say you are the expert on your experience, and sometimes we refuse to share how we feel, or in this case, felt, regarding a particular experience that we had or have. Now, here is a little bit of shared perspective on lockdown. This was March 2020. All of this started. Many of us felt our dreams begin to shake, and we human beings, as usual, thought lightly of the shaking as of a gentle ocean breeze that sends silly little waves frolicking on the sandy beaches. But like those little waves get swallowed up by the sand, some of us thought the sensation brought on by the shaking would have dissipated into the sand of time. Then came April, 1 month later, and it was like all hell broke loose. The light shaking became a rumbling that grew louder and louder, and within a matter of days, many buildings, and when I say buildings, I mean lives, were swaying pitifully as their very foundation was rocking out of place. A few days later, a pandemic invaded our space and tore through every corner of the world, making the devastating impact of Hurricane Gilbert on the island of Jamaica seem like a kid dealing with the frustration of putting together a 20-piece dollhouse puzzle. This invasion was more like a 10-year-old being tasked with putting together a 10,000-piece puzzle with no idea, instruction, or even a picture of what the result should look like when completed. By the end of April, many thousands of lives were uprooted and flipped upside down like the old worn oak after a Category 6 storm. The difference is that this storm was 10,000-fold stronger. Soon the happy screams and delightful laughter of children on the school's playground had disappeared as if they were gone with the wind. The schools were closed, the malls were empty, cars parked idly in the driveways, neighbors disappeared, and the cities looked much like ghost towns. The hustle and bustle of daily living gone. Highways were empty, railroads were silent, and it was like everyone went into hiding, peeking through holes, waiting to see the entourage of the Walking Dead marching into town. Only the entourage was walking, and like a ghost, it was invisible, but with a visible impact. Within months, the joys of decades of day-to-day and face-to-face interaction and relationship building were brought to a standstill. And that which we humans fear most, loneliness, swept over the world like the London fog of 1952. The result was brutal across the world. The frustration was devastating. We were now forced to navigate the empty shelves in grocery stores, fight for scarce commodities, and the price gouging, as manufacturing came to a standstill like the screeching brakes of the New York subway. Every day, bad news got worse. The angel of death swept through the land. Hope was fading. People were losing their homes as the fear of homelessness grew, and it seemed more and more inevitable. And then came the double whammy. Families were forced to stay indoors, together, whether there was a toxic family member or not. Children were required to go to school, but online. Some parents were now challenged with the inability to assist their children with online schooling, and reports of domestic abuse escalated. We were forced into a change that we had to accept. No matter how some rebelled, there was no time for lazy contemplation. Stages of change were not an option. Change was here, and we had no choice but to accept it. Life would never be the same for many. Media personnel reported from their homes. Free access to our loved ones' physical presence was gone, although some did break the rules trying to defy the odds. Yet, the birds still sang in the mornings, the silly little waves still frolicked on the sandy shore, and life went on as usual for Mother Nature without our input. Humans were brought to a standstill. and came the realization of the importance of human interaction. Social media became the outlet for emotions, love, joy, frustration, hatred, confusion, and loneliness. But although some were flooded with loneliness, they were not tech savvy and could not adequately use the only available outlet for those emotions. Parents complained about having kids at home all day long, and they did this via social media. Females realized that the beautiful dress they had bought would not be worn for a long time. The darkness of the moment touched the hearts of big conglomerates, and unscrupulous became third parties on online shopping. People began to miss those people or the ones in the office that they did not like seeing every day before the lockdown. They missed them. Realization hit. Try applying lotion to your left foot by using your left hand all the way through. You soon see the need for your right hand. We were losing and, in some cases, had lost control. But God. We are humans and we love interactive challenges, but all our standardization to eliminate confusing alternatives was gone in a mere matter of months. Nonetheless, there will always be individuals who are motivated by other factors and are willing to persist despite the challenges. For in the silence of the roadway, a man chose to pull out his horn and blow the most beautiful melody through his window to encourage the hearts of his lonely neighbors. The lockdown experience has undoubtedly been a unique and challenging one for everyone. And I can only imagine the countless compelling stories that have emerged from it. Now here we are, 3 years later, and life is barely back to normal for many of us. Yet, our boat is about to be rocked again with another disaster. War. The word of encouragement might not be for everyone, but for those who believe, be not dismayed. Remember this, the scripture says, if thou hast run with the footmen, and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with horses? And if in the land of peace, wherein thou trustest, they wearied thee, then how wilt thou do in the swelling of Jordan? And that can be found in Jeremiah 12, verse 5. There may be those of us, Christians, who are looking up. Some who believe they are looking up. Some who only believe they are looking up. And then some. However, the word says, when these things begin to take place, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. God bless you.